What's up, Armor Down? Yeah, what's going on? About to train. Oh, train. Just got to do every day. Really do. I'm glad to be here with you, passing this little bit of wisdom along. And yeah, so let's get into it. So last week we talked a little bit about beginner's mind, which is the fact that at any given moment you can begin again. And the idea being that you're never going to do everything perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It's not it whatever your mind can come up with as it'll be this way, chances are that's not going to be the way it's going to be. So, even with all the best intentions, the most training, you're going to still find yourself in situations where you're just like, but then you can just begin again. And so beginning again gives you a fresh start. Fresh start means no past, no future. Let's just begin again. Spaciousness. Okay. So Tuesday talked a lot about judgment. So the spaciousness that comes from beginner's mind disappears with judgment. Judgment are claims about the way things should be, the way things need to be. Judgment whoosh, shrinks options. Options get shrunk down. And judgments made consistently and engaged with over time become a form of armor. And it's a kind of a funny form of armor because it's subtle. You've got to, I think you've got to be clear with the notion that the way the brain works, and this kind of goes back to the earliest videos where we talked about predictive processing, is that your reality isn't just out there. It's very much inside and being processed and projected from within and without. So there's this relationship to the world that you have that is utterly intimate, absolutely seamlessly connected. And so when you're interacting with a mind, you may be experiencing your interactions as reality, as the way things are, when what you're experiencing is just your mind's projections. And it's very hard to talk about this because to talk about it is to miss the point. The point is to be able to see, to recognize. And a famous mindfulness teacher, a guy named Thich Nhat Hanh, he'll write about this kind of stuff in books, but when you practice with him, he's focused solely on slowing way down and just being present with the breath, present with the body, present with the way the air feels on the fingers. I've heard others talk about going to his talks, and he does what's called mindful walking, this really slow kind of mindful walking up to the stage. And this one lama, which is like a priest in the Buddhist context, this one lama describes how he just fell right asleep. He just fell asleep even before Thich Nhat Hanh got to the talk because he was just so quiet and settled. But the point of what Thich Nhat Hanh is trying to say is that it's only through the ability of slowing down and really practicing presence that you'll have the capacity to recognize this creation that your mind has generated. You won't see it otherwise. You will be so immersed in it that there will be no separation. It's a very kind of wild notion. I mean, I still remember the pull of my mind when I first started to kind of break free. I remember I would spend time in the present moment, and I would kind of be with the awareness, like, oh, look at that thought. Oh, look at that thought. Oh, look at that. I'm kind of watching it, and then something would trigger me. And I remember being in the gym in Washington D.C., and I remember being downstairs in the gym, and I remember walking from the locker room. I remember getting triggered by something, and I remember being in my mind, just completely consumed by my mind. And then by the time I got up the stairs and about 2 minutes had gone by, I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I was gone. I the awareness of me, who I am, the source, the base, the the foundation of this mental mind body experience was gone. I had become my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I recognized it, and I was like, okay, I pulled back a little bit. So all that to say, it's hard to do. It's hard to recognize. And here's another flavor that I want to point out, and then we'll get into the practices. Much of what we understand about the way to interact with life has come from our parents. It's come from our caregivers. How they did it isn't just how we learn, or is how they interacted with life has far to do with their actions than it is to do with our explanation. So we become our parents way before we learn how to speak. We become our parents' actions, their habits, their triggers before language even starts. We are, the words that pop into my head are imprinting, like the way, what animals imprint on a parent. So anyway, what we are aware of, and how we act is very much the way our parents have acted. And because we've done it for so long, it's what's familiar and it's what's comfortable. So it's comfortable to be the patterns of before, and it's uncomfortable to move away from them. It's very uncomfortable. And the reason why it's uncomfortable is because our minds and bodies show up around the same thing in different ways. So like, your mind has thoughts and your body has feelings, and you may not be aware that when you're thinking, your body is feeling a particular way, and when you're feeling a particular way, your mind is thinking a particular way. You may not be aware of that. So what's comfortable isn't just a mindset. It's also feelings in your body. It's also emotions in your body. If there's a mindset, if you have always been in a mindset of, say, not good enough, something could go great and all you see is what didn't go well. Something went smooth and all you can assess is where things could have been better. And so what's comfortable is to be in this place. What is uncomfortable is to interact with anything other than what you're used to interacting with. It literally feels uncomfortable. It will feel, blech. And it's ironic that the kind of negative, down, judgment feeling would be comfortable, and anything other than that would be uncomfortable. It's like, wait a minute, why would I want to stay in this space? Why would I want to be here? It doesn't make any sense. But that's the thing. We don't interact with the world how it is. We interact with the world how we are. It's our patterns, our comfort levels become totally integrated, are totally integrated. And making that separation and recognizing that, I have a mind and I have thoughts, and I have feelings. I'm not my feelings. I have this heart. I'm not just my heart. To make that break is what all the ancient texts, all the stuff. I mean, the words around that break are enlightenment. Like I know as I was growing up, the feeling was enlightenment. What the hell is that? Blah 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 blah. Whatever. That's weird. What does that mean? I mean, I turn into like a Yoda when I become enlightened? No. Enlightenment is the initial recognition. So it's the recognition that you aren't your thoughts, you aren't your feelings. You have thoughts, you have feelings. And it's a flash, like it's like boom, it's like, oh damn. And nothing ever, you can't go back from that. But just because you've reached this place of aha, oh wow, didn't even realize that, it doesn't mean that now everything's going to be great. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm enlightened. That's why the famous quote: before enlightenment, chop wood, bring water. After enlightenment, chop wood, bring water. It's like nothing's really changed, but everything's changed. It's totally confusing and totally weird. But that's the piece of the puzzle that I hope I have made a tiny bit more clear. And with that, let's practice. And feel free to reach out and chat about this, rap about this. I know it's tricky, but to get it and to recognize it is to see that it exists, and to recognize that there's so much that you can do to bring forth the best version of yourself, more and more and more, and not be stuck, not be stuck in ruminating, not be stuck in doubt, not be stuck in fear, not be stuck in old patterns. There's so much that you can do to support bringing forth the best version of yourself. So stick with it. All right. So let's just slow down. And I need to do this as much as anyone else. And when we begin the practice, slowing down, everything slows down. Like I'm going to slow down how fast I go to reach the bell, and slow down with how fast I move the paper away. Just slowing down, making that effort to get settled in a slowing down kind of fashion, really acknowledging the value of the present moment and the interaction with the present moment. It's really what creates kind of the muscle, right? The mental muscle to see the separation between the thoughts and who you are, the mental muscle to see the separation between your body and what you feel and what you are. It's got to be practiced. And each time you slow down, each time you become more present, that mindful muscle starts to build. First bell. Just follow the tail end of that sound. Follow it to 0. From 0 sound, reach out with your sense of sound. It's called open monitoring. Just spread out with your sense of sound. Reach out. Notice how you can reach out. Notice how you can kind of visualize your sense of sound reaching out far beyond where you are. Just registering sound. Now, instead of reaching out, focus in. Focus in on a particular sound. Other sounds may show up, but try to keep your focus on that one sound. Come back to open monitoring. Go sense of touch. Fabric of clothing. Temperature differences. Let's go sense of taste. Feel your mouth. Feel the tongue. Let's go sense of smell. All right, we'll move on to bell 2. Just be still. Just sit. Any thoughts pop up? Just notice them. Just open monitoring. Now from open monitoring to focused attention, come into your ground, where you're touching the ground beneath you. How your feet are engaged with the ground, how your rear end is engaged with the ground. If there's comfort that can be created at the ground, move into it, find it, move into it. Allow it to influence you. Move into the pelvis. Feeling the pelvis. And making any little movements. Maybe sending the tailbone back, sending the tailbone forward, finding the middle. The movements be really slow. And there's often the sense of getting to the right spot or getting here, moving through this, on to the next. Just spend a little time participating with each region. Come to the core space. We can start at the outer edges of the core space, meaning the skin layer. Just notice fabric of clothing. You can Make little moves left or right, just little moves, and you might be able to feel as you just make little moves with your torso. You might be able to feel the way the fabric of what you're wearing just moves against your skin. If you kind of send your belly out and keep that little movement going, you might feel more skin fabric sensation. If you pull your belly in, the sensation will change a little bit. It's immediate, it's participatory. Now, from the skin layer, go in to the feelings of the core, kind of underneath the skin, getting into the region of the muscles. And just play with the muscles for a second. Maybe pull the core in like you're turning those muscles on, really activating the muscles of the core. And letting the muscles of the core out, just letting the belly spread out. From there, coming up to the heart space, and just be aware of the heaviness of your arms, the way your arms connect to your shoulders, shoulders over armpits, armpits sides of ribs, ribs become lungs, lungs wrapping around the heart. That whole region. Notice how the whole region's influenced by any movement of the shoulder blades. So you pull the shoulder blades back, notice collarbones. Let the shoulder blades separate, rounding the shoulders forward. You can exaggerate that if you like, really rounding forward, rounding the back, dropping the head, going in the opposite direction, pulling the shoulder blades back, bring the chest forward, really sending chest forward. If you're a yogi, you can understand this as kind of the cat-cow position, but vertical. Then find that nice middle. Find that nice middle. So now what you're looking for is a happy spine from the base all the way up to the throat. So torso ideally is settled. Let's go to throat. Think of your throat as kind of the, just kind of the conduit between the torso and the head. Look around for jaw. Look around for jaw. Jaw's impact around the ears going down the throat. And then look for a nice balance from the tip top of the head all the way down. Soften the face. If there's discomfort or kind of a weird feeling or misalignment or whatever, muscular tension, just look at that as your edge. It's stay inside that edge. You don't have to try to get rid of it or push it away. Just stay inside of that edge and find a comfortable alignment. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just whatever feels good right now. And now just kind of sit and rest in that alignment. Quiet. Noticing thoughts. Coming back to the body. Now, breath. Slow inhale. See if you can watch your insides expand on the inhale. At the top of the inhale, feel the body move on the release. Watch the expansion of the inhale. Feel the release of the exhale. Now I want you to play around with generating a sense of kind of bliss. It's just a fleeting moment. I just want you to try to explore it. So what I want you to do is take your inhale as big as you can make it and hold at the top. So you're going to hold at the top until you feel your body telling you through sensation, it's time to exhale. Now, notice what it feels like. Notice that expansion. Notice that sensational eruption, or actually not so much eruption, but that sensational build. And then as you exhale, as you release the exhale, notice the way the body thanks you with a sense of when you exhale. And do that 3 times. So you're going to take the breath in, hold at the top, notice the way the body kind of starts to make sensations telling you it's time to breathe out, and then slowly breathe out and feel the way the body gives you this sense of, thanks. 3 rounds. See if you can feel your heart beating. See if you can feel the beating of the heart, movement of the breath. Go slow. Let's go to fourth bell. With your inner voice, repeat after me. May I be at peace with the judgments in my mind. May I be at peace with the judgments in my body. May I be at peace with the judgments in my heart. May I be at peace with the judgments in my mind. May I be at peace with the judgments in my body. May I be at peace with the judgments in my heart. May you be at peace with the judgments in your mind. May you be at peace with judgments in your body. May you be at peace with the judgments in your heart. May you be at peace with the judgments in your mind. May you be at peace with the judgments in your body. May you be at peace with the judgments in your heart. May we be at peace with the judgments in our minds. May we be at peace with the judgments in our bodies. May we be at peace with the judgments in our hearts. May we be at peace with the judgments in our minds. May we be at peace with the judgments in our bodies. May we be at peace with the judgments in our hearts. And go ahead and place your hands over your heart. When we armor down, we open our hearts. And one way to feel the open heart is to just feel the heart beating. And acknowledge its bigness. Acknowledge its potential. Acknowledge it as the space of your greatest resource. Let's go ahead and finish up with 2 rounds of full inhale, full exhale. That was a good one. I'll see how fast I just arms come straight up. Fix it. Boom. Slow down, Mr. King. All right, armor down. Good training. See you later.